know nothing. Really, we don't know anything. I mean, we can measure some things scientifically and stuff like
we
that.
We know so much more than we did only like 100 years ago. There's actually this fascinating phenomena about information, and quite a lot of information is just just useless. It's like somebody like all the crap you ever do online, that information exists in some capacity, and then after you die, that information isn't really helping. But about every 2 years, the amount of cumulative information that humanity has developed doubles. That's been happening for the last several decades, and it's going to keep happening. So 2 years from now, all of the cumulative information that human beings have gained in its entire history will have doubled in only 2 years. Right. And yes, there's a lot of cat memes in there, but there's also all of the scientific data that is published every single year goes along with that as well. So, all right. So the idea that we don't know much is just no.
Well, okay, so I agree with you. I agree, and this is a phenomenon that's really kind of unexplainable. If we've been on this planet for what would they say 300,000 years, that growth in information has only really started since the Industrial Revolution, right? I mean, the gains that we've made, right? The gains that we've made from the beginning of the Industrial Revolution to this time and period, which is a very short period of time, like 150 years, right? I mean, it's incredible, right? The gains that we made. And so why didn't we make all of those gains all through all the 200 centuries, right? You know what I mean? That we were here. It's really, really unexplainable, right? The ideas that we have now.
It's very explainable, actually.
Okay, so why didn't we have this? Why didn't we have cell phones in the 14th century?
Well, it makes it a little bit trickier when you give a hyper specific example like that. But the reason we didn't have cell phones in the 14th century was because we couldn't capture and trap electricity. We knew absolutely nothing about refining metals to the degree that you would need to. We didn't have industrialized, like, wide-scale manufacturing. I mean, they did for some things, like manufacturing, I don't know, I guess, cannons and metals and horseshoes and certain things. But the biggest problem, like, fundamentally, is two things. It's one, ignorance. They just didn't know anywhere close to as much stuff as we know today. And a lack of technological know-how. And that can only happen once things that feed off of each other and follow one from the next happen. Like, if we took the 100 smartest people on the planet today, not even that, because, some of the smartest people might, like if we took 100 of the smartest, like, electrical engineers or something and put them in the 1400s, they wouldn't be able to do jack shit, because they wouldn't have the tools or the technology to even begin to construct anything that they could use. So the whole thing about, I think we can actually describe this fairly simply. We can go to that thing about information accumulating generation after generation. First, you need enough people. You need a complex enough society where you can create enough capital to make it so that somebody can be a scientist or an engineer for a living instead of a subsistence farmer. And then you need some sort of scientific or academic apparatus that accumulates knowledge over time. And then all those things just need to continuously build more and more complex and passing on of more and more information. And then that's the only way you can ever get to a civilization that is that complex.
Well, I mean, but again, I have to go back that technology has really only grown since the Industrial Revolution. You can go back 5,000 years and look at the Greeks, right? They were everything that you were talking about, right? The Western world is built on Greek thought, right? So you had some really, really intelligent people with a very, very complicated and complex society. Right, you know what I mean. So why didn't they have the ability to come up with these ideas? right?
I
Why has it popped up in just the last 150 years? And I mean, we're talking about 5,000 years ago. And we know, we read their books, we have their literature. Our entire
so
society is built on their ideas.
so I feel like
So, you know what I
I
mean? So,
I think I can explain this pretty simply. First of all, refer to everything I just mentioned with the arc of history and progress and how it has to be cumulative. But also, it's not like people of today are fundamentally different than people of the past. If we teleported, Archimedes, he was one of the smartest people from the ancient world, but he didn't have an iPhone 16 Pro Max. He was a fucking loser, right? If we teleported him as a young kid or a baby or whatever to the present day, Archimedes would be able to grow up and do any kind of thing that anybody today could do. But because he was probably just innately very smart, he would go on to be wildly successful. If you took one of us and teleported, like if you took Albert Einstein and teleported him back to ancient Greece as a young lad, he would not grow up and develop general or special relativity because the math, the technology, the accumulated knowledge that got him there didn't exist because Michael Faraday hadn't been born and done anything yet. Isaac Newton hadn't been born and done anything yet. James Clerk Maxwell, same thing. And some other people that influenced Einstein, whoever the hell they might be.
well, all Einstein's work, I mean, Archimedes was the founder of mathematics on this planet, right? So he was the foundation. Archimedes really was the founder of mathematics and his ideas, his concepts. And a lot of them were like really, really wrong, but that's besides the point. You know what I mean? My point is that, so you didn't really answer my question. You really didn't answer my question. You had some very, very intelligent, resourceful people with a complex society, which you stated was a requirement to be able to get this information and to be able to grow, right? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if you look at
Have you ever played Minecraft before?
I'm not a gamer at all. No.
Well, for you pro gamers out there, you have to start out punching trees. You can't just build an ender portal, or not an ender portal. What the hell is it called? The thing at the end. I already forgot what it's called. But you can't just do that right away. You have to start out punching trees. Anyways, go on.
Well, I mean, again, I mean, it's like confounding to me why there's been such a huge technological boom since the Industrial Revolution. It's really since the steam engine. We went from the steam engine to we have rockets. You know what I mean? Like I mean, we've made historically we've made a growth, right, in technological in technological ideas, right, and even in sociological ideas that is remarkable when we look at human history.
I think I can help you. I think I can help you out here with this. So, yes, there's been all kinds of technological advancements. So have you ever seen pictures of the very first car?
Yeah, the steam engine car, yeah.
It wasn't steam engine. Carl Benz's car had an internal combustion engine, but it was three-wheeled and it was just a piece of shit, right? Okay, Leonardo da Vinci never had a car, but we in today's society have cars. But wait a minute. The original car got probably 3 gallons to the mile, had a top speed of a fart, and it wasn't even enclosed or anything. Whereas today, you can get even the biggest shitbox car is an absolute marvel. So why is it that the very first car couldn't go 200 miles per hour and had adaptive cruise control?
Well, that's my exact point. So from
It's
the
not your
time
point, though.
that we had the first car,
It's not your point. You're saying
because
they didn't have technology. We have technology. You can't explain that. Well, actually, the technology we have, technically the same thing, a car 140 years ago or whatever, was garbage. The reason we have the cars we have today is because of exactly the same thing I've been lining out that you kind of hand waved away. The accumulation of technology, of know-how, wisdom, and whatever, and just more people and more ideas as well. That does really explain it.
No, it doesn't, because you brought up a good point, right? If you look at Leonardo da Vinci and his ideas, and I mean, he literally like had schematics on machinery, right? But it didn't like exponentially change like it has since the car. I think it's a good example, right? So you go from the first shipbox car that was created 140 years ago to the vehicles we have now, right? So it's tremendous, right? And then you have Leonardo da Vinci, who was he was a genius. He came up with all kinds of ideas, right? You know what I mean? He was an incredibly intelligent person, right? You know what I mean? But yet his ideas didn't change for I don't know when Leonardo da Vinci was alive, 500 years ago, whatever it was, right? You know what I mean? Why was it such a small increase, right? So some of his ideas, like he invented like a helicopter looking type of thing, right? He had like some flying machine looking things, right? You know what I mean? He understood aerodynamics at that time, right? You know what I mean? We had the ability to make wings, right? The first plane was a single wing, right? You know what I mean? That's basically what it was. I have to understand the idea of aerodynamics. And Da Vinci had a very clear concept of aerodynamics. Yet we didn't get a plane until what was the 18th century, or whenever the friggin' the Wright brothers were around. They were like the first
1916, 13. No,
Okay,
it was 1909. It's either 1909 or 1906. I always forget.
All right. So it's very, pretty short time ago, right? So Da Vinci understood the idea of aerodynamics, right? There was resources where you could build a wing, right? You know what I mean? But yet we didn't do it, right? It didn't happen. So it's unexplainable why. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand your point, right? You know what I mean?
Like, dude, literally, if you took the 100 smartest inventors today and threw them back 500 years ago, they could maybe make like a cool wagon or something like that, but they wouldn't be able to really invent something extraordinary. The best they could maybe do is figure out how to like create some electricity out of some electrolytes and maybe make the world's crappiest light bulb, but they just wouldn't have the accumulated stuff to be able to do anything fantastic.
Okay, well, explain to me why.
Explain?
No, I'm sorry.
I did so many times.
No, you didn't. No, what you did was, no, you came up with a kind of simplistic answer, right? It's simple, right? What you're saying is understandable, but simple. Maybe the way I was explaining the idea of existentialism or cancer, right? You know what I mean? Like I don't really have the technical answer, and I don't believe that you have the technical answer. And I'm not questioning your intelligence. Obviously, you've thought about these things and you're educated and you're able to articulate ideas, right? But you still didn't give me an answer, my friend.
No, I did. We're gonna try this one more time, and then I gotta move on because there are a lot of people waiting. Why was the first car not as good as today's modern cars?
Are you asking me that question?
Yes.
Because it was a little more primitive than what we have now.
Yeah, but that's the question. Why?
Because the concept of the car was brand new, right? Like we improve on things that we have. Right.
So why was the technology of people from the past so much different and worse than the technology we have today? For the same reason.
No, because I bring up the point of Da Vinci. Da Vinci designed a wing. Why didn't he build on it? Why didn't his
Carl Benz invented the car? Why didn't he invent the Bugatti Veyron?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the point that you're trying to make, but again, I think you're kind of ducking the question. I'm going to let you move on. Thank you for the conversation. I appreciated it. Right, I really did. Have a good evening. I'm going to listen to you and your guests for a little while, but I'm going to go ahead and step down. Have a good night.